This video outlines the impact of Scenario 4 on the finances and sporting performance of the clubs over the next 5 to 10 years. To do this, we first need to explain something called the Euro Club Index, or ECI for short. The website, euroclubindex.com, contains a ranking of every top-tier club in Europe. This ranking system, co-developed by Hypercube, updates after each match and is an objective measurement of club strength. The search bar at the top filters by club name or by country name. Typing in Ireland returns all clubs from both Northern Ireland and the Republic. By clicking on an individual club, their ECI and rank history can be seen. Based on the ECI, reliable predictions about a club and a league can be made. For the purposes of this study, Hypercube used the ECI to group the clubs into 3 benchmark groups. Benchmark A consists of the top 7 clubs on the island by sporting strength, listed alphabetically. Benchmark B consists of the next 7 clubs. And Benchmark C consists of the final 8 clubs. It is important to note that these benchmark groups are merely a snapshot in time when the study took place, and clubs can freely move between the benchmark groups as their fortunes change. We will now examine the financial impact of Scenario 4, first by looking at the current formats. The revenue for a Benchmark C club is currently in the region of €405,000 per year on average. This rises to €699,000 for a Benchmark B club and €1.89 million for a Benchmark A club. This revenue is comprised of UEFA money, league prize money, matchday income, and finally, commercial income, which includes fundraising and any other types of income. It's important to note that because these figures are averages, a club may have a lower or higher revenue than other clubs in its benchmark group, or indeed than clubs in other benchmark groups. Next, we'll look at the impact in 5 years' time of improving the stadium infrastructure and leaving the current tournament formats unchanged. Next, we consider the impact in 5 years of Scenario 4 plus better infrastructure. And finally, let's look at the impact in 10 years of Scenario 4 plus better infrastructure. Now we'll calculate the overall revenue of the 22 clubs playing in both nations' top tiers. The Benchmark A clubs, between the 7 of them, generate a total sum of €13.2 million. The 7 Benchmark B clubs generate a total of €4.9 million, and the 8 C clubs generate €3.24 million. This gives a total revenue for all clubs across both top tiers of approximately €21.4 million. Now in Scenario 4, the League of Ireland Premier Division would expand from 10 clubs to 12, giving 24 top-tier clubs. Let's look at the total revenues in 10 years' time in that scenario. The 8 A clubs generate a total of €61.6 million. The 8 B clubs would generate €27 million and 8 C clubs €10.9 million. This means the overall revenue of the top 2 tiers would rise to a total of €99.5 million. Next, let's look at league competitiveness. At present, a Benchmark A club generates 4.7 times more revenue than a Benchmark C club, on average. This will remain broadly unchanged by just changing the infrastructure. It will drop slightly in 5 years under Scenario 4, and it will rise to 5.7 times in 10 years, largely driven by the increased earnings from regular participation in European group stage competition. Maintaining competitiveness is a challenge that every league must contend with. One option, if the clubs agree, would be to follow a similar approach to the Dutch top tier. There, a club qualifying for the European group stages pays 5% of their earnings to the clubs that do not qualify. This has the effect of increasing solidarity among the clubs, increasing competitiveness, and increasing flexibility around fixtures for the clubs in Europe, as the other clubs are incentivized to see them do well. Next, let's look at the impact of Scenario 4 on the Euro Club Index, or ECI. Currently, Benchmark C clubs have an average ECI of 458, B clubs 774, and A clubs 1,142. Again, these figures are averages. For example, Dundalk's ECI is above the average figure, while Cork's is below, despite them both being Benchmark A clubs. In 5 years, these figures should rise like so, and in 10 years they are expected to rise even further. Based on these ECI scores, let's now look at what the chances are for progress to the Europa Conference League. Right now, based on their ECI, IFA clubs have a 48% chance of making Q2, a 27% chance of making Q3, a 14% chance of making the qualification playoff, and a 4% chance of making the group stages. In Scenario 4, with the separate European qualification through the domestic Golden Round tables, the IFA club's chances of making these stages will rise significantly, ranging from an 82% chance of making Q2 to a 26% chance of making the group stages. For the FAI clubs, on the other hand, at present, the likelihood of progress ranges from 84% for Q2 to 28% for the group stages. In Scenario 4, this will rise to 96% for Q2 and 68% for the group stages. Finally, let's look at a comparison with the Scottish Premiership. Based on the ECI scores of clubs from the island, only Dundalk and Shamrock Rovers would be competitive in Scotland's top tier. In 10 years under Scenario 4, however, the Category B clubs would be competitive towards the bottom of the table, while the A clubs would become competitive towards the top end. We hope you have found this video helpful. Thanks for watching.